What started as another highly anticipated stop on Jin BTS's solo world tour turned into one of the most emotional nights in recent K-pop history. During the second day of his Run Seokjin EP tour concert at Makuhari Messe International Exhibition Hall 4-6 in Chiba, Japan, Jin stunned the crowd with a raw and vulnerable performance of his solo track, Loser, a moment that fans are calling once in a lifetime. From the moment the opening chords played, the atmosphere in the arena shifted. The playful energy that had filled the hall during earlier songs like Super Tuna and Running Wild slowly melted into stillness. Fans held their light sticks close, their cheers softening to breathless silence as Jin stepped forward, eyes lowered, voice trembling, and then he began to sing, "I'm a loser in a world that never waits." His voice cracked slightly on the first chorus, not out of weakness, but out of feeling. Every lyric, drenched in honesty, seemed to echo the inner solitude Jin has often only hinted at during interviews. As the screen behind him flickered with abstract visuals, waves crashing, fading stars, silhouettes of a lone figure walking away, fans could feel the weight of each word. In that moment, Jin wasn't just performing a song, he was telling a story. His story. What happened next turned the night into something unforgettable. Without prompt, thousands of JRMYS joined in for the second chorus. The arena filled with voices, soft, steady, and deeply emotional, singing with Jin, not to him. The look in his eyes changed. A single tear shimmered under the spotlight, though he never wiped it away. He simply smiled, a small, knowing smile that said everything. After the final note, Jin remained still for a few seconds longer than usual.
No flash outro. No placer win.
Just him, standing quietly, taking in the sight of an arena full of people who understood. He gave us his heart, one fan wrote on Twitter shortly after the show. And we gave it right back. Clips of the performance quickly went viral across platforms. The hashtag #JinLoserChiba trended #1 worldwide within an hour, with fans sharing tearful reactions and emotional fan cams. Even non-ARMYS began commenting on the sincerity and artistry of the moment. "Loser," one user tweeted, "more like legend. He just changed what a concert performance can be." While Jin has always been known for his charm, humor, and powerful vocals, this performance highlighted something even deeper, his ability to connect.
Truly connect.
Beyond language, beyond culture, beyond celebrity. This wasn't just a concert. It was confession, catharsis, connection, and for those lucky enough to be in that room, it wasn't just a song, it was a shared memory they'll never forget. A moment where a global superstar showed them the fragile beauty of being human. And in doing so, he proved once again, Jin isn't a loser. He's the legend we didn't know we needed. As the final lights dimmed at Makuhari Messe, the echoes of Loser still lingered in the hearts of every fan present. For many, this moment redefined what it means to be an artist in the spotlight, not just someone who performs, but someone who dares to be vulnerable when it would be easier to wear a mask. Backstage reports revealed that Jin was quiet after the show. One HYB staff member, who wished to remain anonymous, shared that Jin sat by himself for a while, holding his in-ear monitors, just listening to the replays. He wasn't crying, but you could tell the emotions were overwhelming. It wasn't sadness, it was a release. This vulnerability didn't go unnoticed by fellow BTS members either. Shortly after the performance, Jungkook was spotted liking several fan posts about Jin's Loser stage. One particular post read, "He gave us everything tonight. Thank you, Jin." While no official statement was made, fans believe it was Jungkook's subtle way of showing support, a quiet nod from one brother to another. The response from Japanese armies was equally overwhelming. Fans placed handmade notes and letters outside the venue gates the next morning, thanking Jin for his honesty and artistry. One letter, now viral on Japanese fan forums, read, "Even when you feel like a loser, please know you gave us strength tonight. You made us feel seen, understood, and loved. That makes you our greatest winner." Music critics have already begun to analyze the deeper meaning of Loser, with some calling it the emotional centerpiece of Jin's solo career. While originally thought to be a melancholic anthem of self-doubt, Jin's delivery at Chiba transformed it into a declaration of resilience, a reminder that even in the moments we feel most alone, we are never truly by ourselves. Looking ahead, Jin's Run Seokjin EP tour continues, with his next stop in Anaheim, California. But after Chiba, the bar has been set higher. Not in terms of stage production or choreography, but in emotional truth. Can he top the moment when 10,000 voices turned heartbreak into healing, when a single song gave thousands permission to feel, when a loser reminded the world of what it means to be human? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain, Jin didn't just perform in Chiba, he connected. And in doing so, he reminded us all why we fell in love with BTS in the first place. In the days following the Chiba concert, international media outlets have begun to highlight Jin's performance as a defining moment in his solo career. Japanese newspapers such as Yomiuri Shimbun and Asahi Shimbun ran features describing the concert as a soul-bearing night and a masterclass in emotional storytelling. Even Korean entertainment analysts noted that Jin's raw delivery of Loser may mark a turning point in how K-pop idols approach authenticity on stage. On Weverse, the flood of messages from ARMYs continued. Fans shared their personal stories, detailing how Loser mirrored their own feelings of inadequacy, isolation, or failure, and how seeing Jin perform it live gave them a sense of hope they hadn't expected to find in a concert hall. One fan wrote, "When he sang that he feels like a loser, I wanted to scream, 'No, you're not.' But in the end, maybe we all feel that way sometimes. And maybe that's okay." HYBE has not yet released an official behind-the-scenes video of the Chiba stop, but ARMYs are already pleading for it, calling this performance too historic to go undocumented. There are even calls for the Run Seokjin EP tour to be turned into a full-length concert documentary, especially if the Chiba performance is at its emotional center. As speculation grows about what's next for Jin, many believe that this leg of the tour will forever be remembered as the moment he stepped out of the BTS spotlight and built his own legacy. Not by trying to outshine anyone, but by showing his truest, most vulnerable self. And what about the song itself? Since the performance, Loser has seen a spike in streaming numbers on platforms like Spotify and Apple Music, with many users discovering or revisiting it for the first time. In fact, the song re-entered the iTunes Top 20 in several countries, including Japan, South Korea, and the Philippines. Nearly 2 months after the release of his album Echo, Jin may have once called himself a loser, but to ARMYs around the world, he's anything but. He's the voice that says what we're too afraid to admit, the comfort we didn't know we needed, the artist who proved that being vulnerable doesn't make you weak. It makes you unforgettable. And if Chiba was the beginning of Jin's new chapter, the rest of the world will be watching and feeling every word he sings from here on out. ChatGPT Bilon. As Jin quietly returned to South Korea after the Chiba concert, fans gathered at Gimpo International Airport to welcome him, not with loud cheers, but with a quiet, emotional show of solidarity. Holding signs that read, "You're not a loser," and "Thank you for singing what we feel," ARMYs formed a soft barrier of love and protection, as if to shield the artist who had given so much of himself just days before. Jin, dressed in a simple oversized hoodie and cap, acknowledged the fans with a slight bow and a heartfelt smile, one that lingered longer than usual. He didn't say a word, but he didn't need to. The connection had already been made. Back at HYB headquarters, insiders revealed that Jin would be taking a short break before continuing with the next leg of his tour. While many artists would move quickly from one show to the next, Jin reportedly requested this time not just for rest, but for reflection. One HYB official mentioned, Chiba meant a lot to him. He felt the weight of that performance. It wasn't just a concert, it was a release. Social media remains flooded with fan edits, voiceover tributes, and emotional recounts of the Chiba performance, especially Loser. Fan theories have begun to swirl, with many wondering if Jin's emotional delivery hinted at something deeper, an upcoming album repackage, a visual film to accompany Echo, a collaborative project with the fans themselves. But for now, Jin appears to be letting the silence speak for him. And perhaps that's the most powerful move of all, because sometimes, in a world obsessed with speed, constant updates, and content overload, an artist who chooses to pause, who lets a moment breathe, is saying something even louder. This mattered to me.
You matter to me.
And in return, the world responds not just with admiration, but with something far more enduring: respect, gratitude, and love that stretches across languages, borders, and stages. Jin may have walked off the stage in Chiba, but the echo of that night, the voices, the tears, the unspoken understanding, still lingers. And when he returns for the next show, whether in Anaheim or Amsterdam, one thing is certain: he won't be standing alone.